Thank you. Hello, everyone. Thank you to join us. Let me introduce myself. I am Daniel Barraez from UNDP Venezuela Country Office. When we talk about monitoring new and old basic services using social network, specifically Twitter, the first question that arises is why monitoring basic services is relevant. And the answer is simple. Basic services are key for development for several reasons. Evidence of that is the basic services are transversal to SDG. Not only the SDG directly related to energy, water, but other ones like inequality or sustainable cities. So for the achievement of SDG is crucial and universal and good provision of basic services. Monitoring basic services is a way of monitoring SDG. On the other hand, basic services is a fundamental component of social contract. Citizens expect that governments provide basic services. From a governance point of view, a good provision of basic services is at the same time a requirement and an indicator of good governance. We cannot achieve a good governance without a universal, a good provision of services. New services are becoming basic services and are generating new inequality gaps. Internet access and digital world access are clear sources of new inequalities. Other important argument for monitoring is that deficiencies in basic services provision especially affect the most vulnerable population. Electrical power and safe water are clear examples. So if we want to put in practice leave no one behind, it's necessary to have a good and universal basic services provision. Besides, the basic services monitoring is useful for policymakers because the monitoring provides relevant information for maintenance and investment in basic services, especially a level of design and implementation of infrastructure, but not only for development in emergency or disaster context or humanitarian aid, the monitoring basic services provide us valuable information. Additionally, monitoring also provides information to identify vulnerable population. This is the population, in this case, that not have access or have poor access to the basic services. An important point of this work is about perceptions. Monitoring social network is essential for monitoring the public perception of provision of these services. The perceptions are crucial for policy because a bad perception of a public policy made this policy unpopular, unsustainable, and unsuccessful. Other important question that we need to answer is why Twitter? Why to use social network? Because Twitter is not a representative sample in the traditional statistical mean, but many relevant actors use this social network to express themselves on public issues. And the complaint of these services is no exception. The heads of senior government officials, political and social leaders, parliamentarians, NGO, influencers, media, yet citizenship are all talking about his perception of public policy. These actors are fundamental in shaping the public perception. The big data and machine learning allow us to process information for social network timely and at lower cost than a traditional statistical surveys. We can work in any frequency, monthly, weekly, daily, and even online. Well, how does it work? Basically, we build an index of quality service provision service by counting tweets reporting shortage or complaint failure of these services. To show how this work, I will talk about a simple way of the workflow. The first step is the work on social network data source. In our case, we worked with PowerTrack Twitter API. The work consists of identifying tweets that report the failure in a specific service. We achieve this using dictionary of keywords. We will give next some example. The second step is to transfer the identified tweet from Twitter database to the UNDP cloud and check if the tweets are really reporting failures. This is a step key. Is the most important because the natural language may be unclear or misleading. For example, in some countries, we have found the expression no power, no energy. At first glance, it looks like a tweet reporting electrical power failure, but it's a comment of the lack of physical training of soccer team. It is a criticism of the team. So you need rule to include tweets and you need rule to exclude tweets. In UNDP Cloud, we process all the database using text mining techniques and build the matrix on the default services. And then we proceed to identify the municipality where the failure occurred. Then we combine the index of failure with the localization and municipality label and obtain the maps. The last step, we deploy all the metric and heat maps in Power BI dashboard in a monthly or weekly frequencies. Here are some examples of keyword. The dictionary. The dictionary, you use the dictionary for both. For failure, for identification of failure, and municipality identification too. We don't use, this is a simple example, and Mickey Mouse example. We don't use single words. That don't work well. We use word combination. For each service, we have database containing between 100 and 200 phrases to identify failure. In a similar way, we construct a database with the official names and the main city of each municipality or state to identify municipality where the failure happened. Here are some examples of metrics. In the top panel, we have the failure in a specific month. As you can see, the electrical power provision is the main source of failure, followed by water. In the lower panel, we can see the evolution of failure index in a year and its moving average filter. In the left panel, we have monthly, this is another, the next slide. In the left panel, we have monthly variation of the index. In the middle panel, the share of each basic services in the total of all failure, that is clear, dominated by electricity and after water. An analytic of interest is the notion of the critical municipality. A municipality is critical if it has an unusual level of failure at a given time. The level can be determined by the number of failure faults per capita or if it exceeds a given percentile of the failure time series, historical time series. Here, we can see in the top panel that in July and August, there were almost no critical municipalities, but September and November, it increased considerably because of the heavy rains. In the below panel, we can see when months and municipality, the months when municipality remain critical. Finally, we have a heat map of the whole country at municipal level, showing which services has most failure for each municipality. It's clearly dominated by the yellow color, electrical, followed by water, and some cases of public transport in dark blue. Of course, we can build different types of map. A dashboard with all the analytic and maps is available in Teams Power BI. Only an UN email account is required to access the dashboard. The paper with the details of the methodology is available on the UNDP Latin American and the Caribbean website. There is a link in Hoover to the paper too. Many thanks to organizers, UNDP World Data Forum, and the host country institution, the National Bureau of Statistics of China, for the excellent organization of the event. Thank you for your attention.